the CHGO White Sox postgame show, coming to you live from Studio B of our CHGO offices in the west side of Chicago. I'm your host, Sean Anderson. Alongside me, the full CHGO White Sox crew. We got Vinnie Duber, our CHGO White Sox beat writer on the far left. You can follow him at Vinnie Duber. Again, our CHGO White Sox beat writer. I feel like I've been repeating that line. Just emphasizing.
Hammer it home.
Some people CHGO White Sox beat writer. CHGO White Sox beat writer. CHGO White Sox beat writer.
Yeah, maybe if you do that 3 times. I mean, obviously, I was already here. But
you'll appear.
I'll appear, if you do it at a time when I'm not here.
Man in the middle is Herb Lawrence.
Hello.
You can follow him at XRall23. He's our CHGO White Sox community leader. I'll remember that for the next time you're, we have a rain delay and you're maybe at Guaranteed Rate Field. I'll just get, if I'm lonely, because, maybe Herb is talking to, Steven or something, I'll just go into the bathroom and say your name. Like
the bathroom?
Well, because there's a mirror.
Oh, the bathroom.
I thought you had to do it in a mirror.
No, that's Candyman.
Yeah. I'm talking about Beetlejuice.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you just say that whenever.
I was thinking Bloody Mary is what we. That was one I was thinking. All right. Anyway.
Did she ever show up?
No.
Okay.
I won't make that comment. All right. Let's get into the game. It got rain delayed, and we really had no update for about an hour, and then the White Sox won. So there you go. The White Sox win 3-2. The White Sox, for the first time since early August, since the White Sox played the Yankees, they love playing the American League East. They won a series in their 36 games, under 500. What'd you guys make of the 6 innings of baseball we saw?
Clevinger pitched good. Yeah.
He gave up 2 solo home runs. I mean, what can you expect at that Mickey Mouse ballpark? But
one of them was crushed.
Yeah. The Duvall one was
Duvall hit that onto the highway.
He did crush it. But good starting pitching performances the whole weekend by the White Sox. I think they only gave up 3 earned runs, with Tukey giving up 1, and today the 2 by Clevinger. But good win? Question mark? Because those wins don't really matter anymore. I mean, you're just avoiding 100 losses. Fred's 100 losses are looking likely, but also they avoided another day. Took another day off the calendar. Only 6 games to go, and got to win 5 of those games? Or 4 of those games?
Now they're 60 and 96, so they got to win
3.
3
of those games.
So 3 of the 6. They got to go 3-3. 500. Then what are they, 2022 White Sox? I mean, I don't know. The Padres are still hot, right?
They lost last night.
Oh, okay.
They're 0-12 in extra inning games. That's a record. It's the other team was the 69 Expos, that's their first season ever. So 0-12 for the Padres. That it's an anomaly, and if they would have went 6-6 this year in extra inning games, they would have been the 3rd wild card right now.
Not eliminated yet, and they're up 8-0.
Well, and here's the thing, though. How much more proof do you need? What better example do you need of the whole baseball maxim of it doesn't matter who you play than this race, this race for some of these final playoff spots that are going on right now? The Houston Astros have been horrible. They just got swept by the Royals. They've lost, what was it, Sean, that I was telling you earlier?
7-12?
They've lost 9 of 12.
9 of 12.
And 7 of those 9 losses have come against the Royals and the A's.
Wow.
And that's a team that, if they make the playoffs, could very well win the World Series. The Cubs, by the way, who are fighting for a playoff spot, they had a bad weekend last weekend against the Rockies. They're losing games to the Pirates earlier this week, and they're right in the thick of it here. So, I mean, it doesn't matter. It does not matter who you play in baseball. And if you needed any further proof of that, take a look at what's just going on right now today around the league.
Yeah, and it's hilarious that, Texas, who has the 3rd best record in the American League, Toronto has the 4th best record, Seattle has the 5th best record, and Houston has the 6th best record, are all fighting for playoff spots, yet Minnesota is just sitting there comfortably with their ticket already punched. So shout out to the elephant in the room, the American League Central. We'll talk a lot about the pitching performances this weekend. We'll talk about some pitchers who hit the injured list, and we'll talk about this lovely game of baseball where you just get to go home. Maybe you're watching the NFL right now and that brutal game played on the gridiron. But if you are hanging out with us, hit the like button. We know Fred's hanging out with us and making sure that he's on that tumbleweed towards 100 losses. As Herb says, they need to go 3-3 in their next game to avoid 100 losses on the year. They have the Diamondbacks and the Padres coming to town, right?
Yep.
Yeah, and we got some schedule change over the weekend too. Right. The game that was supposed to be played tomorrow night against between the White Sox and the Diamondbacks has been moved to Thursday, which was originally an off day. That game is going to be played at 1:00, and you can get in the door for $1 down there at 35th and Shields if you don't have to go to school or work. And then we'll see what happens.
Parking's free, right?
Parking is free if you wanted to drive. And then we'll see what happens. Tuesday night is supposed to now be the opening game of that series, and it is supposed to rain. So we will see what happens. There might be further schedule changes. Hold on to your hats, folks.
Yeah, and these games are very vital to the Diamondbacks, as we just stated. They're in a playoff push, so they're going to get played. There's not going to be any banging of games where they're just not going to reschedule and play this game. So, yeah, man, that's not very fun to hear, Vinny, on Tuesday that game might get rained out, because I love the Wednesday and Thursday. The 1:10 starts, baby, perfect. I would hate, and
you might get two of them.
And for you, I would hate it for you being at the ballpark all damn day long to watch a team that doesn't do anything and a team that's actually going to go somewhere.
Well,
with the
and I guess that's kind of what the interesting outlook is like, do they see that forecast, as they obviously made some very preemptive changes with the Diamondbacks currently in New York playing the Yankees. They made some changes after that game got rained out to move things around with the White Sox. Do they go preemptive again and say, let's just schedule a doubleheader for Thursday or something along those lines? So we'll see what happens. But, of course, too, that's just current chief meteorologist, my iPhone, telling me what's going on right now. Not a reliable sort. So that could all change 5 times between now and Tuesday evening.
But then again, if you're accurate, you're gonna be our go-to meteorologist. So I mean,
I am, or the phone.
I guess the phone.
Yeah.
So the phone will be our we can fire whoever we have on staff for meteorology, and we could just hire your phone.
I think it was Herb. So
yeah.
Wow, what a tough way for you to
remember
hear
when
this,
I went
Herb.
to Kansas City?
Sorry,
was
Herb.
reporting all that good stuff. Goodness gracious! Now we can bring in Pete Sack or I don't know. Yeah,
Vinny's phone.
Mary Kay Kleist Almighty, one of those people.
What are you talking?
You don't know Mary Kay Kleist? Channel 2's meteorologist?
No.
Oh yeah, you're a child.
Herb's still watching,
you don't watch the news?
Herb's still watching network news.
Pete Sack? Come on, man.
I know who Pete Sack is.
The best bench of all time, Dick Johnson and Pete Sack. Rest in peace, Dick Johnson. But
He's dead?
Yeah, he died like in the pandemic.
The NBC guy?
Yeah. Yeah, a couple of years ago. Sad. But yeah, we still watch news, because I'm a 44-year-old and my fiance is older than I am, even though she's only 35. She's like, let me watch the news tonight. I'm like, ugh, again? Just a bunch of bad stuff, and then we get to sports, so much more bad stuff. Goodness gracious. In the winter, it's just going to be all bad stuff. Rather just hit my head with a hammer.
Hey, at least the White Sox...
A ringing endorsement for 2, 5, 7, 9, and 32.
We watch Channel 5. We're Channel 5 loyalists. As a child, I was a Channel 7 loyalist, but the fiance likes that Channel 5 love. I don't get it. Allison Rosati, Stephen Holt. I guess she's a fan of it.
Do you want to rank the news channels?
When I was a child, there was nothing better than Channel 7. We had Ron Majors.
Jim Rose retired, speaking of Channel 7.
Yeah, long time. Yeah, Mark G and Greco. It was on both 5 and 7. But
I'm going to do some set rearranging while you continue to talk about this, because I feel like I've got a...
Are you pulling out
It's like a parrot, this wine bottle sitting on my shoulder.
Are you pulling...
It's Iago. Oh, there it is.
Oh, okay. I thought you were pulling out the hammer Herb wished
now
for.
it's going to be on my other shoulder.
All right. Well, we're going to take an ad break while Vinny rearranges the set.
There we go.
Then we'll go back to Boston and talk about this 3-game series that the White Sox won with this busy fall season ahead that Herb is not looking forward to.
I love fall. I hate winter.
Alrighty, in swing. You might be looking for wholesome, convenient meals for jam-packed days. Factor's America's #1 ready-to-eat meal kit can help you fuel up fast with chef-prepared, dietitian-approved, ready-to-eat meals delivered straight to your door. You'll save time, eat well, and stay on track with your healthy lifestyle. It is fantastic just to have these delivered to your door. You pop them into your fridge, and when you are hungry, you pop holes into the top of the
Little slits. Yeah.
the slits into the container. And you pop it in the microwave for 2 minutes. And honestly, it is fresh, clean food. You would be shocked that it came out of it's fun packaging. I shouldn't bash, but like.
I mean,
it's like I've never enjoyed broccoli so much.
Yeah, if you're thinking packaged foods and you're thinking when you're a child and all those other groups that you had when you were a child, it's not that. It's chef-prepared meals that are delicious. And I would have never tried zucchini spirals in my life ever before until I tried it on Factor. And I was like, all right, I got it.
And now
delicious.
You could choose from 34 plus weekly flavor pack, fresh, never frozen meals ready to eat in 2 minutes. And you can level up with the Gourmet Plus options as well, prepared to perfections by chefs and ready to eat in record time. So if you hate prepping, if you don't like chopping onions or don't know how and feel like you're just going to lose a finger every time you do it, this stuff is prepared for you already. These meals are prepared for you already. And again, they are clean ways. And this September, you can get Factor and enjoy eating well without the hassle. It's simply chosen. You simply choose your meals and enjoy fresh, flavor-packed meals delivered to your door, and they're ready in 2 minutes. No prep, no mess. And you can head to factormeals.com/CHGOSOX50 and use code CHGOSOX50 to get 50% off. That's code CHGO-SOX50 at factormeals.com/CHGO-SOX50. That's CHGOSOX50. Again, factormeals.com/CHGO-SOX50 to get 50% off. And again, they are fantastic. And if you don't like chopping, if you don't like prepping, if you don't like the hassle, you just want to get your meals over with, Factor Meals is for you. Let's jump into Splash Sports. CHGO has weekly pick X and NFL Survivor contests for everyone to participate for real money. This is the one that you just lost in?
No, I lost in the company league.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But head to splashsports.com/CHGO. Link is in the description and sign up. Deposit cash to get started, and it's just $10 to enter either the Pick X contest or the CHGO Survivor contest. The more who enter, the larger the prize. And we'll also be running weekly contests all year long. So make sure you head over to splashsports.com/CHGO or check out the link in the description. And if you want to run your own contest, if you're tired of being the commission on leagues, chasing people down with none of the reward, you just want to join a league, or you can sign up to be a commissioner if you like that power and run through their link at splashsports.com/CHGO and earn money for the contest you're already running with friends and family. Head to splashsports.com/CHGO to join in. We'll have different contests coming out, so we are stoked to compete with and against you all. Be sure to click our link in the description. Again, splashsports.com/CHGO to join in.
Dan,
I will be surprised if either of those people are advertisers again.
No, they would be. No. X in contest is hard to say back to back. Dan put 100 on the Bears. I mean, Dan, just next time, just throw it to me. If you're going to be donating, just give it to me, Dan.
And Dan, God bless you. His comment above, later guy is going to get hammered. It hasn't, like you said, with watching the news. Whenever it comes to sports, it just hasn't been fun. So God bless people. Be safe. Not a fun time, but at least the White Sox won a series.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it's like I would say, if they would have lost this series, I would have hammered them just like I hammered them losing the Washington National Series in the way that they did, the 13-3, I think, to end the series. But showed some fight, showed some actual great pitching this weekend. And so it's not going to carry over necessarily for next year, but it's good to see them still out there chucking the ball well and competing with the team that's also not going anywhere. So it's a unique opportunity to play at Boston, too. I like the nooks and crannies of what they were doing. Vinnie had a really good idea that how we should build stadiums.
They should all be silly. Every layout should just be ridiculous. Have like a little kid draw it or something. They should just all be ridiculous. Besides Boston, all the rest of them look exactly the same.
Okay, well, that's going to be a good off-season project. We can go through all of the stadiums, and you could determine if they're silly enough.
No, there's one, maybe two.
Fenway's silly enough.
Fenway, obviously, and then maybe Houston.
I think Yankee Stadium's pretty silly.
No, it's
so
it's
small.
the same shape. It's just moved
tiny.
in. No, it needs to be
Wrigley,
all like crazy and jagged. That's what would be fun.
Wrigley's silly. They have the baskets. They have the ivy.
But the dimensions are not silly.
Well, I like the old hill they used to have in Houston. Why'd they take that away?
The silliest thing.
That
a
was
terrible idea. Just
horrendous.
the most dangerous thing you could do.
Right field in Wrigley Field's weird. Like they got
But
that weird.
You're really lowering the bar for weird. Is my point.
Back in the day, didn't the Yankee Stadium have the monuments in play? No. Bring some of that. Like put some of
in Houston, the flagpoles used to be.
Put Minnie Minoso statue in center field. You just gotta run through it or run around it or catch it,
climb up and make a nice play.
Yeah,
the
Get
Frank,
on Minnie's shoulders.
the Frank Thomas one's always at first base, so you can hit like a ball off of it. If it hits off Frank and goes into foul territory, it's still fair.
There was some old. We used to be able to play in like classic parks on MVP baseball back in the day, and there are ones where they like just go forever.
Polo grounds.
It's like 600 feet to center field or something insane like that.
If you pull it down the line, it's a 210, and then if you hit it dead center, it's 550.
You're playing in a hallway.
Yeah, insane. All right, so we'll go through all of the 28 other parks
Off-season show idea
and try
How
to make them
baseball
more
more wacky.
Is the pool in Arizona wacky enough?
If it were in play, it'd be wacky.
Okay.
Water hazard.
Oh my God!
What
Making a
happens if
diving
you hit
catch
Diving catch
into the water.
pool.
Oh yeah!
Tremendous idea.
Do you get an extra out if you do that?
You win.
You win.
Game's over.
Game over.
First inning and the game is over. No one scored. No one won except for the team that just caught that ball. Good job,
And
Corbin
all
Carroll.
of us watching.
Yes.
Well, and I mean, that's kind of like what this game was like with the White Sox. Maybe not exactly, but like it was weird to see Adam Duvall hit a home run and then the game be over. Like, I don't know. Like, it wasn't the ninth inning. It was the sixth inning. It was just very odd to just have an hour rain delay, and then the Sox end up winning.
And
Zach Remillard was coming out too. They knew they were getting an out.
This is more Rami Maklus, who works, I think, in Sacramento now. I first met him in Milwaukee. Put a roof on all baseball stadiums. You can have them all retractable, but it's the only sport that sometimes you go to the ballpark, you might not play a game that was scheduled. Every other one, basketball, football, hockey, you're going to have a game play because they all have roofs, or like the NFL, they don't give a goddamn unless there's some lightning in the area. But you got to have roofs on these things so you can play all the games and have no consequence, no worry about, hey, we might not play today, or we might spend an hour waiting just arbitrarily for this game to get banged because we set rules up long time ago that says we have to wait an hour after a rain delay starts to bang the game.
I do wonder, like, had this not been invented 150 years ago, like, would they just play in the rain?
I don't know.
I don't know what's so... I mean, the grass is slippery.
It becomes an entirely different game, but would you just keep playing, right?
I guess...
It's probably like a grandfathered in thing that they have all this rain delay, but, like, they could play in the game. They could play in the rain. It would be terrible.
Oh, yeah.
Right. But
pitchers would complain because of no grip and balls would be like
hitting guys all over the place. Yeah. Although Clevinger was doing that today anyway.
Didn't they set a record?
So, yes, with two hit batsmen today by Mike Clevinger, the White Sox have now hit 90 batters on the season. That is a new franchise record. The first one tied the franchise record, previously set in 2018 at 89. Then the second guy that he hit established a new one. So 90, and that is still not the most in baseball this year. God bless them, the Oakland A's came into today's game with 94 hit batters on the season.
It's time to catch up.
Hey, and
I believe in you, White Sox.
If they're playing through all this rain, we'll see if we can test those rain delay limits and see why they were canceling all those games. Clevinger, we'll get to him in just a second. Let's go to Fred though, who said, "Why can't Luis Robert slide without hurting himself?" We'll go back to Saturday. Dylan Cease had a nice start, but the Sox basically win because Cease was able to keep the Red Sox scoreless for 6 innings, struck out 11, and then Luis Robert poked one into right field in the silly, wacky Fenway Park.
It's wacky.
Gifted a homer.
You gotta love it.
And then today, Luis walks, and he's one of now 26 players in baseball to ever have 35 homers in a season, 35 doubles in a season, 20 stolen bases, and 30 walks. So, I don't know.
30 walks is not that many.
I know. I know. Barry Bonds, who leads this list, or Jeff Bagwell, who leads this list, had 140.
I want to know the players who missed it because of the 30 walks. Didn't have 30 walks. That's ridiculous. Like, everybody should have 30 walks if you have that much production otherwise.
I'm honestly kind of second guessing of, 30 walks. I don't know. Let's see if anyone has 29 walks.
It was today. He had walk and then stole second base.
And then he stole second base, but he slides in awkwardly. I was listening on the radio broadcast, and Len and DJ thought that it was initially his right leg because that was the lead leg that he slid into the base with, right? But it was the trailing leg that ended up being examined, and the White Sox said that he was taken out of the game for right leg or left leg soreness.
Knee specifically. Yeah.
Knee specifically. It just seemed weird. I don't know if it was the wet dirt that slowed him down.
Well, so it looked like it could have been. Obviously, it was just a weird looking slide in general. Something that, as Fred mentions, Luis has a history of doing. But now they've got him double oven mitt, so he had to find a new way to do it in a dangerous way, I guess. But it looked like his right foot, which was on top of the bag, kind of skidded across the bag with it being kind of wet and damp up there at Fenway Park. But it was what was under his body that ended up being checked out by the training staff in the dugout, and it forced him out of the game right there after the first inning. So the White Sox say it is left knee soreness that he'll be further looked at when they get back to Chicago.
Yeah, for his sake, I just hope that he's fine. And if he's any type of injured, like a little slight injured, I know he wants to get to 40, which is 2 home runs away. Put him on the IL like you've put a couple other players so far on the IL. Say it's a great season. We don't need you to be hurt going into the offseason with exacerbating this injury. So enjoy your time off, enjoy the bench. And, it's sad for fans who want to say goodbye to him after a great season. But also his health is paramount for the White Sox moving forward because he's their only player.
Well, and you say he wants to get to 40. What we actually know is that he wants to get to 150 games played. I believe today was 145 for him, so he would have had to play 5 of the last 6 to hit that number. We'll see if he's going to be able to do that or not.
Yeah, and he's going to be short of 600 plate appearances, too. He was at 495, I believe. 595. So just, kind of sucks to see because he's just been so healthy, and it doesn't seem like it was too major. It just seemed awkward. Hopefully, knock on wood. Hopefully, it's not something like Michael Kopech that we'll talk about later. That will be a 6 to 8 week recovery. Hopefully, Luis is just gonna have to sit out these games for precautionary reasons, and we can just enjoy 2023 as the year Luis Robert won Gold Glove and Silver Slugger in the same year.
That'll be fine with me. I mean, I know.
Gonna happen.
Yeah, the $150. You set that record, that goal, and you want to hit it, and to play 150 games is what most Major League Baseball players should shoot to. But before this year, he hadn't hit 100, right? So he's getting so close to a benchmark that he had set for himself before the season started, and that's probably very important to him. And I don't know if he'll come back out for these 6 games. I hope he does.
98 last year, and I think what he proved that at least to himself and to our, most fans, is that he can play 150. I mean, I think this could be an injury too, that it was just awkward. Let's take him out because it is rainy and wet. Let's not risk anything. And, an off day on Monday. This could be absolutely fun on Tuesday, but again, with them being 36 games under 500, why risk it?
Yeah.
I mean, that could be just the case. So, I mean, it could just be truly the team holding him back from reaching 150 and not actually his health, because this could just be something minor.
Yeah, and after the slide, he stayed in the game, and he played the outfield. He gingerly caught a ball at the, forgot what inning that was, first inning. And he caught a ball, and he went back out there, and then they replaced him after going back out for the second. So theoretically, if they're in the hunt, something like that, I think he would have probably still been in the game just battling through. But like you said, it's no reason to put him out there in inclement conditions, and he's already got an owie, so who cares about him getting in more action today? So hopefully he just has that good day off tomorrow and comes back out on Tuesday, faces the Diamondbacks, and is back out in center field.
Yeah, absolutely. We do have more updates on Michael Kopech and Jesse Schultens to get to in just a second, but let's talk about Mike Clevinger and Dylan Cease today. Again, Clevinger, no walks, and that was 5 consecutive walks, or 5 consecutive starts without a walk. And Chris Kamka tweeted out this stat: most consecutive starts without a walk in White Sox history. Lamar Hoyt with 6 in 1983, and Doc White in 1907 with 6. Clevinger ties Ted Lyons, Ed Walsh with 5 starts. We'll see if, I don't think he's going to get another. Oh, he
gets one more
start
Saturday, right?
Saturday, yeah, he should start the second to last game.
Yep.
So he will have a chance to tie Lamar Hoyt and Doc White. And he comes the first complete game today with no walks or strikeouts since Jerry Roos. Again, this is from Kish Kamka of June 27th, 1988. He only pitched 6 innings. Roos pitched 8. But, hey, Clevinger, this has been something that we've been talking about. He's been a fine offseason signing. They only made 2. So, I mean, it's kind of a low bar, but you're really looking towards 2024. He has a mutual option. He's ending the season on a high note. And you think really with waivers, or when he was put on waivers, the reason he wasn't claimed was because of that $5.5 million buyout. It would have been likely that, a team would have picked him up for his actual pitching performance. So this offseason, it could be a market for Mike Clevinger. And even though fans, or some of the fans in our chat want him back, it does seem like he might have a market for his actual pitching performance this year.
I mean, of course. I mean, listen, you can trace back plenty of times throughout recent baseball history, guys who have, this air of off-the-field stuff about them. They get picked right back up because they can either throw the ball or hit the ball, and Mike Clevinger can do the former. He has shown that over the second half of this season. The numbers have been very good. He has been the team's second-best player in WAR this year. He has been their best starting pitcher, I think, without a doubt. Again, that tells you a lot more about the White Sox than it does maybe about Mike Clevinger. But he has done enough to, you would easily expect him to get more than the $12 million that mutual option is worth next year. And perhaps of even more importance, whether this is of more importance to him and his agent or not, I don't know, some multiple years on there too, because he's a guy who is not at the end of his career by any stretch, it would seem. So I think that makes total sense that he probably won't be back next year, just because testing that water makes it a lot easier. If you look at the buyout being worth $4 million, all he needs to do is get more than $8 million, and he's exceeded then what he would have made with the White Sox. So it seems a pretty easy decision for Clevinger, given the way that he has pitched when it comes to the White Sox. If you're just talking about the results, they would love to have those results back for next year, because we've talked about over and over again the dearth of starting pitching that they have going into next season. But more than likely, it's just going to be that $4 million buyout, and they're going to have to go looking for somebody to fill that spot in the rotation.
It would be not very smart if he and his agent just say, yeah, we're just going to come back for $12 million, because you could still sign with the White Sox after he takes his $4 million buyout. They're still available to sign him. So take your money, and if the White Sox want you, they had to pay you what the market dictates they need to pay you. And yes, it looks like in this second half, like not necessarily a 1, but a 2 in a good team's rotation. And so if you as a White Sox fan want that back, I think the White Sox will have to pay a pretty penny. Probably not as much as you're going to have to pay for the top of the market, but you're going to pay a lot because he's still relatively young in his career. 31, 32? So this is probably his last big shot at a nice contract. So there'll be a lot of teams bidding for his services because, as Vinnie said, the off-the-field stuff and whatever you make about that is what you make of it. Teams, for the most part, care about what you do on the field. And if he's throwing strikes, getting people out at the clip that he's getting people out in this second half for a woeful White Sox teams and GMs are going to be looking for him to do that on their team.
Here's an interesting question. Maybe we get to this in the offseason at some point in a little bit more detail, but just out of pure interest, not because either guy might end up with the White Sox, who gets the bigger contract, Mike Clevinger or Lucas Giolito?
If I'm just doing straight pitcher, yeah, it's Clevinger.
By AAV?
Just bigger. He's not old.
Lucas is
younger.
But
longer?
Lucas is younger, but Clevinger's got a track record.
I think Clevinger gets a higher AAV, but I think it's for 2 years. I think he gets an extra year of security. But
you think Lucas is going to get 3 or 4 years?
I think Lucas probably gets something similar or less than Taillon. So I think he gets more money sum-wise because he gets more security.
Okay.
Giolito's gotten a little bit better as of late, though. 7 innings, 2 earned runs, 7 innings, no runs, 12
Who's
Ks.
watching the Guardians?
I guess what I'm just saying is that
3.
I think, again, and I'm strictly talking from a results and numbers and pitching standpoint, Clevinger has shown that he can be Mike Clevinger again for the first time since he got traded from Cleveland.
Correct.
And I mean, if you going into next, let's say this season was another mediocre one for him, that's the big question you would have if you're another team. Man, I remember when Mike Clevinger was doing some pretty great stuff with Cleveland. Can he do that again? I don't know. You're kind of seeing that he's able to do it a little bit again. That question might be answered for a lot of teams.
I think the biggest thing that helps him is throwing 9 against the Nationals and then technically a complete game. So throwing 2 complete games in his past 2 starts, just because what isn't super high is his innings pitched. He's still under 140.
Spent a lot of time on the injured list. I mean,
right. Well,
when
that's
he went
the
on
thing.
the injured list, we were like, oh, he'll be on the injured list for a bit. And we were looking up a month and a half later and being like, when's this guy coming off the injured list?
But that's the thing with his career. I mean, he's only pitched 200 innings once.
Right.
So, like, again, I don't think that there's a ton of security in his. While he has pitched well this year, there's still the off-field stuff from before this year that I think, obviously Lucas doesn't have. Lucas is younger. Lucas has thrown consistently 170 innings each and every single year. That's why I think he'll get 4 to 5 years comfortably. Clevinger, again, might get more like, hey, we'll give you $18 million, and if you pitch well, we'll give you a team option for 24 or whatever, because he does have that 2-to-1 level. But if he's not healthy, you can't trust him like you might be able to trust Lucas at playoff time.
I think also you probably get more. Clevinger gets more of a market. Like there's teams out there. There's multiple teams going to be looking for his services, like 4 or 5, maybe more. Like who's going to be looking for Lucas? A lot of teams, but really, truly going for a pitcher who used to be really good, but now is kind of can eat innings, is fine, but this is a January signing, maybe a February signing when you've struck out on the top of the people and you just need to fill out your rotation type of thing. I think Clevinger, he's not going to sign in November like he did with the White Sox this past offseason, but he'll have people at that winter meetings and be like, hey, I'm getting top of the rotation performance without paying top of the rotation prices. And if it's only $18 million, teams are going to be jumping at that. And like you said, 2 years, $18 million, and with the option for a third, I think people are going to be well into Clevinger's market to get him on their team. I don't think people are be chomping at the bit to get Lucas because he hadn't shown really top of the rotation stuff even this year, which we all agree was a pretty good year for Lucas as a White Sox.
Yeah, I mean, he showed I think when at the trade deadline we saw him as a 3 or a 4 in someone's rotation.
By the way, it is 38-0.
They just scored another touchdown?
I did.
Huh?
None of them.
What? From the 50?
Oh, they got taken
nullified
back.
by penalty, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, but they just oh my God, it is bad out there. And none of them to Travis Kelce.
No,
surprise,
thank
surprise.
God. And that's not that woman's
hate it.
boyfriend. That's not her. They're not dating. All right, let's take a break and we'll talk about some of our sponsors, and then we'll get into Michael Kopech and Jesse Schultens, who hit the injured list. We'll talk a little bit about Dylan Cease, and we'll talk about old pal Chris Sale, who had a nice outing on Friday. Want to let you know, though, about our friends over at FOCO. We do have our FOCO bobbleheads. I don't know if this one's behind Herb here. We got this lovely Tim Anderson one. We got that lovely Southpaw one. You can check him out at FOCO.com or click the link in the description below.
Wave that orange White Sox flag.
Wave that orange White Sox flag. Get fitted in the best sports gear around. They have bobbleheads, shoes, signs, hoodies, everything in between. You can get the set decorations that were donated to us. You can check those out at FOCO.com. But it's also a baseball season for very little days, very little time remaining.
One more week, folks.
Aloha shirts, straw hats, polos, bags, everything you need for a game if you're going for $1. The parking's free, so go spend it at FOCO, FOCO.com, or click the link in the description below for all non-presale items. Again, use the promo code CHGO for 10% off. Can also let you know about our friends over at Ray CDJR. That's Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram. If you are in the market for a new vehicle or a new or used vehicle, if you are, then we have some great news for you. Ray, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram in Fox Lake have just joined the team. At Ray CDJR, you'll always be able to shop one of Chicagoland's largest inventories and find unforgettable savings. And right now, during Jeep Adventure Days at Ray CDJR in Fox Lake, you'll be able to take off up to 15% off MSRP on all new 2023 Jeep Gladiator models, but that's not all. Now through September 30th, 30th, explore their newly renovated showroom and take advantage of their breathtaking deals as they celebrate their grand reopening. They have fantastic customer support, so check them out. If you are in the market for a new vehicle, then you have to check out the team at Ray Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram because they are the only team we recommend. Visit them today on Route 12 in Fox Lake. For more information, visit Ray CDJR in Fox Lake or raycdjr.com today. Serving the community since 1963. And finally, Herb is peaking out there at, 31-0? They finally, half ended. He's looking out there at our TV, which we're streaming Fubo TV. Yeah. 140 live channels of sports, shows, movies, and news. You could stream live TV from any device, like a television, like a computer, like a phone. It's crazy.
Device,
the modern age. You can watch the most Chicago sports for the lowest price and start watching immediately with a free trial. You'll also be able to watch the MLB playoffs. The White Sox won't be in it. Hate to break it to you, but you can watch the playoffs with Fubo TV when that starts soon. Start watching immediately with a free trial at FuboTV.com/CHGO. There's no contract, no cable, no hassle. Just sign up and start watching. And our favorite part is the 1,000 hours of cloud DVR included at no extra charge. You can watch local teams while traveling, so you can catch the Bears, any of your Big Ten teams. You can, if you have a soccer club you follow, you can watch UEFA Euro qualifying,
if you will.
Oh, look at that! Yeah. You can all watch it with Fubo TV. Watch all your favorite college football and NFL with Fubo. Go to www.FuboTV.com/CHGO, FuboTV.com/CHGO to sign up for 15% off your first month of Fubo Pro. Okay, so Michael Kopech hits the IL on Friday. This weekend. Yeah. Jesse Schultens hits it this weekend as well. Let's go to Kopech first. More of the cyst in the knee. 6 to 8 weeks recovery after surgery out in Oak Brook. Or is that the one that from last year? Am I confused?
No, you got it right. It's Oak Brook.
Okay. So shout out Nikhil Verma, who did the surgery. Michael Kopech going to be out for 6 to 8 weeks. We saw the move to the bullpen. We were questioning that. We saw the opening start that he had, and it just didn't go well. We weren't really concerned about any physical stuff with Kopech.
Not that we had heard,
Yeah, here we are with him getting surgery in another offseason where he's going to have to be rehabbing, right? I mean, this is 2022, 2019, nothing in 2020 or 2021? Or?
I mean, he didn't play in 2020 at all.
Okay, so 2021, though?
Well, but coming into that, it was not normal because it was coming off of 2 missed seasons. So, we have heard so much from Pedro Grifol about how important it is for these guys to finish the season healthy, not for any sort of, grab yourself an imaginary win kind of reason, but because you want to have a full offseason healthy where you don't have to worry about rehabbing and you just worry about getting better at playing baseball. Michael Kopech is not going to have that. That doesn't mean that he can't accomplish both items, but we have already been talking about how much improvement Michael is going to have to make between the end of this season and the start of next season because it's just quite frankly been a horrible year for him pitching-wise. Now he has to throw in coming back from a knee surgery, and it's not anything like he had last year where it was a meniscus situation, as you were talking about, Sean. It's not any sort of, oh, God, he broke something or anything like that. But it was an invasive enough procedure that there's a 6 to 8 week timeline on it for the recovery. Whether that affects much of his offseason or not, who knows? We'll see. But it's just another thing on top of all the other stuff that Michael has had to deal with. And it is also, interestingly, if not significantly, the cyst thing again. This was something he was dealing with last year. It popped at one point, which our loyal viewers and listeners will remember is super gross and I don't like talking about. But it popped at one point, and there was, I believe they had to put him on the IL while he figured all that out, while they drained that or whatever was going on. And now here it is again, another cyst in the same area. So we'll hear from Chris Getz at some point, and perhaps he can shed some light on whether this is something that is being dealt with on a continual basis for Michael or not. But listen, I think everybody thought that maybe just because of the performance, a shutdown of some kind was coming. This is obviously a very specific physical issue that required surgery. And here's another question: how long has he been dealing with it?
Do you ever worry about HIPAA as a journalist?
What? No, I'm not a doctor.
No, I know, but how much can they actually tell us?
I can report what they tell us.
I know, but I'm just I kind of just want to know. I just want to know more about how to avoid getting a cyst in my knee. I don't know.
Don't throw pitches in the major league.
Ask Dr. Google or consult your physician.
Okay.
Yeah, I just feel sorry for Michael because if anybody needs like a vacation and a breakup from baseball, it's him. And I know after next Sunday's game, they'll theoretically get breaks, but he'll be having to rehab this thing for another month and a half. So he needs to get away from baseball, stop thinking about how to execute pitches, how to get the ball over the plate, can I command this pitch, etc. He'll be 2 months into the offseason where he's got to be rehabbing his knee. And then probably right when he's healthy again, he's going to have to do a throwing program. Remember this past offseason, he couldn't really get the ground hit the ground running because he had COVID, and so his throwing program wasn't on as it usually would be in this offseason. He needs to get away from baseball, just think about nothing but go to an island, chill out, do your thing. When it's December or January, when they tell you it's throwing time again, cool, get your stuff together and be ready for regular season to come or the spring training to come. But yeah, this is not a good thing for the Michael Kopech story for the White Sox, and they're depending on him to be a starter next year. More uncertainty with Michael Kopech than actual certainty because we don't know who's going to show up next year. But I just need the player to have clear mind and not think about his whole baseball career. I think all the weight of his whole life is coming down on this year. You could tell he's just not the player that he is supposed to be right now. And that could be because of injuries. That could be because of expectations. That could be because of not establishing his pitches the way he needs to do it, etc. But the player needs to get away and clear his mind and be better for the person needs to be better so the player can be better.
Can we get a quick Herb Lawrence top 3 island rankings?
I was about to say. Any island recommendations?
Blue, Stony, Rikers. I'm kidding.
Rikers. No Goose?
Oh, I forgot. I was
going to make the Blue and Stony joke, so you beat me to it.
Doing
I had Goose saved for number 1.
That's a Jonathan Hood thing, Blue and Stony, when you go into the vacation.
Can you get a honk, Steven? Are you spacing out? Just looking at
you're
your
in Studio B. It's harder.
Number one island, Goose Island.
I wasn't ready for island rankings today. I just wasn't prepared for that.
You're spacing out at fantasy.
And also, I've never really been to an island. I've only left this country and gone to Canada. That's not really an island.
Have you been to New York City?
I've been to some parts of New York City, yeah.
All of them are islands.
Are they?
Manhattan, Long, and Staten.
Long is a damn. Yeah. I've never been to Staten Island. I would say Staten is the third.
Again,
no matter which island.
You suggested Rikers. That's in
probably
also an island.
Better than Staten.
Wow, quite a dig.
Mercy.
I mean, who's from there except for the Wu-Tang Clan?
What, Rikers Island?
No, Staten Island.
Is a prison.
I know that.
Yeah,
I'm talking about Staten Island. It's so bad. It's worse than the prison.
Wow.
Wu-Tang Clan, and that's it. Pete Davidson. We're done.
All right. Mercy. All right. Jesse Schulten says left calf strain. Declan Cronin has been recalled from AAA Charlotte, and it was recently Declan Cronin's birthday.
Yesterday. He got called up on his birthday.
Happy birthday.
That? But yes, according to Daryl Van Schouwen of the Chicago Sun-Times, Jesse Schulten's suffered that calf strain during pregame sprinting.
I
believe that was on Friday.
Never run.
Very dangerous. Hey, so Mike Clevinger pitches today, right?
Correct.
Nick Nastrini pitched today. It is the end of the Charlotte season. 5 perfect innings from Nastrini today in Charlotte. Do they give him a tryout at the end of the year?
No. I mean, I don't see why they would. Why would you call a guy up and have one to make one start? That being said,
who's going to start?
Well, it'll be a bullpen day, I would imagine.
Davey Garcia.
It'll be Tanner Banks. But I'll say this. Sure looks more and more like we need to start talking about Nick Nastrini as a potential starting rotation member for next year, don't you think?
He looks filthy. It really does truly look like he's got 4 pitches. That fastball is legit. He's got a changeup to throw off left-handers. He's got a nice slider, a nice curveball. I mean, the fact that they got him for Lance Lynn, sign me up. I know people are bemoaning the fact that they traded away Jake Berger for Jake Eater, But I mean, hey, they need starting pitching a lot more than they need third baseman. They need starting pitching a lot more than they need bats. It's a lot easier to find bats out in the market than it is pitching, and especially at for a higher price. And it seems like Brian Bannister, the senior advisor to pitching.
There you go,
which
get
is
it right.
An odd title. I mean, we look at what they've done in San Francisco. They're not shelling out $100 million for pitchers. You see them take a shot at Carlos Rodon because they think he has Cy Young potential for a year, and he did. But they're taking shots on DeScalfani's, Kevin Gausman before he turns into a Cy Young candidate. Sean Manaea. Like, they're trying to take these projects, these outcasts, and turn them into starters or usable arms. So, I mean, I don't. I could see Jesse Schultens being in the rotation next year, but basically what I was saying, like Nick Nastrini and Jake Eater, I think are going to be a lot more helpful to the White Sox along the lines than Jake Berger was, and obviously Lance Lynn, who was going to be gone.
That was the only thing I was arguing. It's like everybody loves Jake Berger as a White Sox fan, but he wouldn't have a place next year except for just having to shoehorn him into a place that maybe he wasn't ready for. Second base, he played a little bit here, but as we said, Jake Eater has the potential to be longer term good for the White Sox as a lefty starter. And I just checked, Declan Cronin went to the College of Holy Cross up in Massachusetts. So today is his 26th birthday, back in Boston. No, I just looked at the 24th. He's shipped up to Boston with a name like Declan Cronin.
Is he from Boston?
No, he's from New Jersey.
Oh.
But he went to college in Holy Cross, which is out there.
It's possible he's been to an island.
It is.
Yeah. Yeah. But no, I think
the Emerald Isle.
Yeah. I think Nastrini, I mean, seriously, I think this is a guy, I don't know if it's going to be quite Oscar Colas level from the offseason where it was, this guy's the starting right fielder, don't even worry about it kind of thing. But that seems to me to be a real name that they would be considering for an opening day rotation spot if it were to work out that way. Because getting 2 starting pitchers is a lot easier than getting 3 starting pitchers.
Right, and we saw it too. I mean, around the same time, Pedro and I think Chris Getz was saying, we want people who want to compete for 2024. There are open roster spots. Whoever wants it, can be on our team, basically. If you have the will, desire, and you could show us that you have major league potential, I don't think the White Sox would be afraid to add Nick Nastrini to the roster.
And what did he say? He wants to infiltrate the rotation.
Yes.
He's going to do it secretly on the slide. You're just going to look up one day and Nick Nastrini's going to make like 8 starts.
He's going to be like Tanner Banks. So somehow years ago, Tanner Banks joined the White Sox roster, and we all blinked at it, and he's still here. Same with Brian Shaw.
And looking at Nick Nastrini's numbers, the only thing in every minor leaguer goes through this, he hasn't come close to the innings load that you would expect from a fifth starter. I think to this point, I don't check what he did today. He's pitched 116 innings at maximum in the minor leagues and in a season. So you need at minimum, 140, 150 from your fifth starter, something like that.
But does it lend itself to one of those creative things where it's like,
right,
hey, we can start Nick Nastrini at the beginning of the year, and if we get to August, he's done. He's done, kind of thing.
Okay.
Yeah, but maybe, who knows? Or maybe they say we're gonna do him. He's gonna throw every 5 days for 2 months, and then it's gonna be every 10 days, and then we'll see what we can do at the end of the season. They've got ways of doing this. I guess it all depends on how impressive he is to them over the offseason and come the spring.
Well, it's weird too because I don't know how much say Brian Bannister will have in this rotation, but this is a team that does rely on their bullpen and isn't afraid to have a true opener like the Giants, and we've seen that. So this isn't a team that has a normal rotation with a guy that you're going to hand it to every single day. Like Logan Webb is their guy and has been their guy since 2021, and he's made 26 starts in 2021, 32 in 2022 and 2023. But outside of that, they haven't had 11 guys start more than 20 games in the past 3 years.
Whew.
So
is that a recipe for good?
The 3 guys that have made starts since 2021, 20 or more, Cueto, Alex Wood twice, Logan Webb 3 times, Alex Cobb twice, Rodon once, DeScalfani, and Kevin Gausman. So it is good because they know pitching,
Yeah.
or at least Brian Bannister hopefully knows pitching. So like, hopefully if you're going to get 116 innings out of Nastrini, they're quality 116 innings out of Nastrini. So like, that's the one thing with the White Sox is I think that at least in 2024, they'll be a little bit more creative with pitching. And maybe that's how Nastrini gets in because he has 4 pitches. I mean, if you can give us 3 innings for, 32 times, maybe the White Sox will take that rather than, 18 outings of 6 innings.
Then they got to get a lot more pitchers then.
Well, yeah.
A lot
But that's
more.
fine. I mean, they found their Tukey's, they found their Jesse Schultons, they found their Brian Shaws.
But
sign the cheap guys and figure out find the guys with one really great pitch. Work from there.
In all reality, Jesse Schultons and Tukey Toussaint, their ideal role on a good team is guys who can come in and make a few starts for you when needed, right?
Yes.
And so, assuming then that the results are good, which they have been for both those guys this year, but rather than give one or both of those guys you're going to start 30 games role next year, wouldn't it be better to say, hey, we've got this kid who we're really excited about, but we're not gonna force it with him. Why don't you guys stick around, hang around, and make some spot starts, make 10 or so each, and then, that helps us get this guy into the major leagues the way we want to, and then we can hit the gas with 30 starts for him in 25.
Do you tell those guys that now? I mean, I know Jesse Schultons is signed, and this was just his rookie year, so he'll be pretty much back next year. I think Tukey is a free agent this offseason. So do you hey, Jesse, you're mostly going to be a bullpen guy with spot starts in there. We're not necessarily going to be depending you to be giving us starts every 5th game. So
why would he be told he's competing for us?
I mean, because he can compete, but we want you to be more in the bullpen role than I would. If I was Chris Getz, I'll be blatantly honest with him, especially because he's already on the team, and just say, this is what we plan, this is what we envision. If you feel that is unfair, cool, then prove us wrong type of stuff, but this is your role. You're a bullpen guy with spot start possibilities. We're not going to be depending on you to be a every 5th day guy, and that's how your offseason goes. Need to be that. That's your offseason.
There's nothing wrong with telling a guy to show up to camp to be ready for anything.
Yeah.
But at the same time, Jesse Schultons, if he's the best pitcher in camp, give him the job, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's the kind of camp that certainly Pedro and Chris both want to see. And so you should be telling all your guys, prepare to be versatile, because and a player should want to do that, because that's the way you get a job. There's not a lot of pitchers who are out there who are going to at the end of camp be said, well, we don't got a rotation spot for you, but we'd like you to pitch out of the bullpen, and they're like, nah, I'll go back to AAA and wait till someone gets hurt. That's just not how it works.
Urania did that, and I mean, maybe Urania and Tukey are in more of a spot where it's like, no, I'm a starter and I know that I can give
veterans.
teams. Right. Well,
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. Like Schultons, this is the first time that any team has given him a chance to actually start.
Right.
So, I do wonder that, if the White Sox were to be like, hey, we want you to be more flexible, if he does give them that leniency, because, again, they believed in him enough in 2023. So, I was just saying that Schultons might be more of a guy that would be willing to be, more flexible compared to the other guys.
There are definitely guys who sign a minor league deal in spring training with the intent on competing for a rotation spot, and if they don't get it, they go back to free agency. That happens all the time, and that's fine. But I think when we're talking about when it's someone who's on your roster that you can establish an offseason plan for that might not have a spot on your big league roster next year, the idea should be, when you're a young guy like that, is I want to get on this team any way I can. And if the door closes in the rotation, there might be a door open in the bullpen. And I don't think anybody is going – I don't think – Jesse or anybody else in that similar role, in that similar stage in their career, would be like, no, I'm going to prepare for one thing. Versatility be damned. I think versatility, if you can have it, is always something that teams want to see.
And the thing is, too, the White Sox, as we've pointed out, that they have a bunch of spots open, not only in the starting rotation, but in the bullpen. So you can leave a couple spots open and do what we always claim the White Sox should be doing, was just have your own guys built up. Instead of going out and spending big-time free agent money on relievers, have some of your own guys develop as relievers. And if Jesse Schultons or Tukey Toussaint turn into that, so be it. But don't go out and give a big-time contract, $8-9 million to a reliever, when you have people in your bullpen that can do just as good of a job as the guys that you would sign.
I mean, and here's the thing. Jesse Schultons was not a part of the rotation this year, right?
Yep.
He's made 11 starts. right?
Yeah.
He's made 11 starts. I don't think anybody that we were sitting here being like, well, Jesse Schulten's penciled in for 11 starts. It just goes to show you that's how baseball works. And if he doesn't make the opening day roster, they're still going to need him to make 10 starts, or maybe not 10, but if things go well, but they're still going to need to have him make starts. And so you got to be ready. You got to be ready to do anything. And I think smart players, that's the way they treat the offseason. Smart teams, that's the way they tell their players to treat the offseason too.
Hey, I'm just saying, maybe I could see it in 2024, maybe not the first 5 games, but maybe a June game opened by Brian Shaw, tailed by Jesse Schulten.
It's going to require them to re-sign
I'm about to say,
Brian
you still
Shaw.
got Brian Shaw on the team?
Of course. This is the best his stuff has ever felt.
I don't know if
Pedro loves him.
he's not going to break the bank, but he's going to still make veteran minimum.
What is that, $2 million?
It's still more than
You scoff, it adds up.
Still what more than a rookie like Jesse Schulten is going to make.
They got like 15 guys they got to go sign, Sean.
Yeah.
Come on. You're scoffing over there.
So if they sign 15 veterans at the minimum, they're spending $30 million?
No, I'm saying like if they go out and get the players that you actually want them to go get, it's going to eat up the budget
They
quick.
won't.
You know who's a lot? You know who's a lot cheaper than Brian Shaw? Sammy Peralta.
Exactly. Yes, exactly. Sammy Peraltas of the world. Put your bullpen with a bunch of Sammy Peraltas.
I know that I can bitch, moan, and bemoan what I want and who I want them to sign. And I know that I'm just going to get a heaping, steaming plate of Andrew Benintendi and Mike Clevinger. I can say I want all of these guys that aren't Andrew Benintendi, and I will still get Andrew Benintendi.
Well, he's signed for 4 more years, so you're getting him.
No,
yeah.
I know.
And I know
I'm painfully aware.
We're going to be doing an off-season
Also-
show on who we want, but I'm going to ask for Jordan Montgomery, and I know I'm not going to get even that low of a target of Jordan Montgomery.
You'll get Drew Smiley.
Oh, God. That's
This soggy arm.
Ugh. And he's going to do what Drew Smiley does.
Suck.
High 4 ERA and suck.
High
And-
4.
High 4.
Pushing 6. He's on the White Sox.
Oh, yeah.
Getting tanked.
Good point. Good point.
Well, as a great segue, and to check one last thing off of the to-do list here, Sean, I'm going to say, you know who will be back in the rotation next year? Dylan Cease. Dylan Cease was great yesterday.
That's true. I feel like we touched on it a little bit, but 6
Yeah.
innings, 11 strikeouts. If you want to flash the stuff results,
It was
we can
7
get out of here
innings.
on this. Was it 7 innings?
Yeah.
I thought I
Is
read a
that
piece
good?
that said 6. I'm so sorry. 55 pitches. 108 pitches for Cease on Saturday. 55 of them four-seam fastballs, 34 of them sliders, 18 knuckle curves, and sprinkled in a changeup at 74.7 miles per hour because why not? And again, what we've been seeing with Cease is the spin and velocity have stayed consistent and true. 100 pitches mostly every start, and although they haven't been pretty, his actual stuff velocity isn't declining, and that's incredible to see. This is his 3rd straight season with 200 plus Ks, right? Mm-hmm. And it is just great to see that he does have that ace potential that he flashed in 2022. Shout out to the size C shirt at CHGOlocker.com.
You can still get one.
You could still get one. But also, I mean, that's just consistent 30-plus starts for 3 straight years for Dylan Cease. That is the best ability is availability, and Dylan Cease has proven that. If you want to flash the results here, though, Steven, again, nothing, groundbreaking on how he did it, but it's great to see the fastball kind of come back to life because last week it wasn't like this. 12 called strikes for him on that pitch, 14 whiffs on 33 swings. It has been seen, I don't know, I was watching the Red Sox take on the Astros on a plane back in August, and apparently the Astros only throw Rafael Devers fastballs. So I guess maybe all of those whiffs are just from Rafael Devers alone. But Cease was extremely effective, 38% called strike plus whiff percentage. This is one of his best starts. It's not shocking that Cy Young candidate is still in there, but it's just good to be reminded of and at least see, again, that ball go into the hoop because he was going to be on the 2024 team, and he was going to be the number 1 pitcher regardless of who they go out and sign unless they break the bank for Blake Snell. But again, it's good to see a victory, especially for Dylan, because it has been a pretty rough 2023.
Exactly, and for himself to feel good about one of his last starts, I think he'll make a start on Friday versus the Padres to end off his season. But you said it, like, posting is very vital. Even though this is a subpar year for Dylan Cease, posting that many starts. Every time, every fifth day, you get a start from Dylan Cease. And 200 strikeouts. Not very few people do that in major leagues. I don't know how many have done it in White Sox history, but also very few have done it 3 years in a row where you're striking out 200 or more men each season. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to his offseason. I'm looking forward to him, Brian Bannister, and Ethan Katz working with him to take him from the step of 2022 and just erase 2023, not necessarily the whole thing, just the results of the season, and going from 2022 and making that Cy Young guy whole again and making that a reality. Because you can be a bad team but have a top-of-the-rotation guy, and we thought we had that at the beginning of this year. Dylan Cease has regressed a little bit, but I think he's still in there.
And, hey, I know, like you said, Herb, he'll have one more. But if I'm not mistaken, thinking back through all the starts Dylan's made this year, 2 best starts of the year, first one and the last one until the next last one. But, yeah, right? Mm-hmm. Am I wrong?
Correct.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Sandwich between 28
a bunch of
tough
other
ones.
Stuff. Yeah. But, yeah. But, yeah, this looked like the guy who shut down the Astros on opening night.
Absolutely. And I'm excited to watch his 2024. He's still very, very young. He's got a lot to prove. I don't have nearly the amount of concerns that I have with Michael Kopech. So that's a win for Dylan Cease. That's going to do it for the CHGO White Sox podcast. We'll probably talk about it more tomorrow on our off day show. We'll be off tomorrow. We'll have post-game shows for you Tuesday through Thursday.
We won't be off. The White Sox will be off.
The White Sox will be off.
Right. We'll be here.
We'll have a show for you, even though it will be a White Sox off day. That's Vinnie Duber. You can follow him at Vinnie Duber. He's our CHGO White Sox beat writer, as Herb said. 5 o'clock tomorrow. You can follow him at Ecknerwall23. He's our CHGO White Sox community leader. And I'm Sean Anderson. You can follow me at Sean_W_Anderson. Thank you to Stephen Nicholas for producing the show. Thank you to everyone for hanging out with us, and hit the thumbs up button on your way out. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Goodbye.